So now we're going to go from big ideas for Dayton to hacking Dayton one house at a time. Our next speaker is what I would call a philanthropic investor and historic home renovator. He's also a retired engineer and vice president of Fortune 500 company. For 10 years, Michael Diflora and his wife Holly have been hacking our city by restoring homes in the South Park neighborhood. Together, they've refurbished more than 35 houses in the neighborhood, and they've been a big part of why South Park is coming back. So please join me in welcoming our next speaker, Michael Diflora.
Thank you. Okay, we've rehabbed over 35 houses in South Park. I've actually reaped 10, but I've only gotten 5. You don't always get what you reap. I'm going to share with you my experience, and so it's just my experience. It's not the final, what's going on with REAP, which is now the LockLinks program. You'll have to get to the website to get more information about that. Why do you REAP? When you're out trying to find a house and buy it that's in bad shape, what you're going to find out is that you just can't get a hold of the owner. There's a problem with contacting them. They're upside down. You just can't get to them. So the LotLinks program allows you to get a hold of those houses that are almost impossible to get. How's it work? There's an application. You put down $750, either check or money order, and then there's a lot of detail on the application. You have to send in an Ohio ID or driver's license, attach a current photo of the property. There's no guarantee that the process is going to give you a house. Here's an example on the left where I tried to reap something and it was in the process of being foreclosed on, so they just refunded my money. On the right, you'll see that I was able to successfully get that property, and you have 30 days to come up with the balance of what you need. It's important that once you get that property, that you pay attention to all of the violations, because you immediately have to start working on those. Everything you do the outside in a historic district has to have the approval of Landmark. You wind up with a certificate of appropriateness. My experience is it's okay to take care of the weeds around the house to keep it looking kind of decent till you get into it. Don't go into it until you have title, because you'll be thrown in jail. The process can take 1 to 2 years. Once you've got the property, you're going to say, what the heck have I gotten into? Because you have to deal with Landmark, pulling permits, turning on utilities, and housing inspection. The biggest challenge is going to be pulling, what I found out is getting the utilities turned on and pulling the permits. Here's an example of what a house, some have looked worse than this, some have looked better than this. The middle is the exterior of a house, and the other two pictures are what's left of a bathroom. You can see you got a little of what you need on each side of it. Okay. Part of what I've gotten into is that you can see what's on the outside, so you say, okay, I can make some projections, but since I can't get on the inside, you won't find out what you have on the inside until after you get title to the place. Chances are there's no electrical, even the electrical panel is gone. Sometimes the wire coming from the pole into the house is gone. Kitchens and bathrooms are so badly damaged that they need to be replaced. There's water damage from rain and broken, burst water lines and drains, and I've even had these cast iron drains that are cracked because they've sat and frozen. Landmark is the first thing you'll have to get involved with, because it's in a historic district in South Park. Even the colors have to be approved by them. If you replace any lighting fixtures on the outside, window replacements require approval. Anything that's considered a minor you can get over the telephone. They'll send you a COA and you post it, but Beyond that, you might have to get an architect and then go up before the board. Yeah, permits are a real fun thing to do. You go down to Dayton Building Inspection at West 2nd Street, and most of the time they want you to get a contractor to pull a permit, and contractors don't want to pull permits. They'd rather be out working, and then you're going to pay for their time. Utilities, you look over there on the right, that's identified by the last item. If your utilities are off long enough, they get retired. So they wind up having to tear up the street to get you hooked back up, and I'm going through that right now. Housing inspection is not a delay. They actually help push it along. They make sure you have a COA out there. They're patient with you if you show progress. Once the code violations are taken care of, they'll clean up anything that you've got on there. Neighborhood benefits. Housing industry has shown that every vacant on a block depletes the price of the house in the neighborhood by $1,500 each. So anytime you fix up a house, it also helps the entire block, and you can wind up selling houses that weren't selling before because of that ugly looking thing that was there. The local benefits are you have a lot of materials that you're going to use, you have a lot of contractors you're going to use. They use the local restaurants, and once you get people in there, you've got property tax revenue, you've got income tax revenue. Personal benefits, it's very satisfying to take a distressed property and have it return to its former glory. If the property is rented, you get a decent return on your investment, and it gives an old guy something productive to do to keep his mind and body active when not spending time with the grandkids. There's a product. The one over on the right was that pink house you saw in the center. Many times you'll replace between 20 and 60% of the siding on a house, and I mentioned in one of the slides Reckworth Lumber, and they will replicate the siding for you. Conclusions, Lot Links is a very good program for getting vacant, distressed houses off of the market, even though it does take them about a 2-year period to get it to you. The prices are almost nothing. They run between $2,000 and $2,500 when it's all over with. The rehab can take anywhere from 1 to 3 years. Thank you.